Good morning. As we go to the start with the Chitas of the day, the Chumash of today. Today is Thursday, the fifth reading, the fifth part of the portion of Bahalaischa. We're holding on chapter 10, the book of Numbers, Bamidbar, chapter 10, verse number 11. Vahiba Shana Hashenis, it was in the second month. B'chodesh Hasheni, in the second year, B'chodesh Hasheni, the second month. B'esem b'chodesh, on the 20th of the month. Nala Olam Me'ala Mishkan, the cloud rose from the tabernacle, the Mishkan Edis, the Mishkan of testimony. So Rashi says, hence we see that they spent 12 months minus 10 days at Mount Sinai. For the first day of the month of Sinar, they encamped there, and they traveled on the 20th of year of the following year. So it was autumn. So it comes out that it was 12 months minus 10 days that they stayed at Mount Sinai. Yisu b'nei Yisrael l'maseim, and the Jewish people traveled on their journey. In Midbar Sinai, from the desert of Sinai, Vayishkan Anan, and the cloud settled the Midbar Paran in the desert of Paran. So that's in accordance with the regulations set down in the traveling of the banners, which should be first and which should be last, as it's written in the previous parshas. The Midbar Paran, Kirvas HaTaiva, was in the desert of Paran, and that's where they camped after this journey in Paran. By Yisrael Shaina, verse 13, they traveled first, Al Pi Hashem, through the mouth of God, Biyad Moshe, in the hands of Moshe. Yisrael Dego Machne Yehuda, and the first banner of the camp of Yehuda, Shaina, they traveled first, L'Tzevaisam, to their legions, Val Tzavai, Nachshon ben Aminadav, and the head of the tribe of Yehuda was Nachshon, the son of Aminadav. And together with the tribe of Yehuda, Val Tzavai b'nei Yisachar, and together with the tribe of Yehuda was the head of the tribe of Yisachar, Nesanel ben Tzur, Nesanel the son of Tzur. And together with them was Val Tzavai b'nei Zvulun. Together with them was the tribe of Zvulun, the head of the tribe of Zvulun, which Eliyav ben Chelon. Verse 17, V'hudad HaMishkan. And then the tabernacle was dismantled. V'nasu b'nei Gershon, b'nei Merari, and the sons of Gershon and the sons of Merari set out, Nesei HaMishkan, who carried the Mishkan. So Rashi says, once the banner of Yehuda was set out, Aaron and his sons went in, took down the parechas, the curtain that covered the ark. Within it, it says, when the camp was about to travel, Aaron and his sons shall come. The sons of Gershon and the sons of Merari dismantled the tabernacle and loaded it into the wagons. The ark and the holy utensils, which were carried by the sons of Kost, stood covered and were placed on poles until the banner of the camp of Reuven set out. Following the Kohasim, followed the tribe of Reuven. Verse 18, V'narasa Dego Machne Reuven. And then the banner of the camp of Reuven sets out, the Tzavaisim to the legions, Val Tzavai, and the head of the legions, Yutzu ben Shdeir. Val Tzavai Mata Shimon, together with the legion of the tribe of Shimon, was Shmuel ben Tzuri Shaddai. Val Tzavai Mata b'nei Gad, and heading the legions of the tribe of Gad was Eliyasav ben Du'uel. And as Rashi said, V'nasu HaKahasim, and then the Kahasim, the one who carried the uttering, then he traveled. The Siyah Migdash, the one who carried the holy utensils. The Kimas HaMishkan Abayim, and they erected the Mishkan until they arrived. So since Gershon and Merari was traveling in front of them, and they traveled with wagons, so they arrived first to their next camp. They would set up the Mishkan, and by the time they set up the Mishkan, the Kahasim were there, and they would bring the utensils straight into the setup Mishkan. So they carried the sacred equipment. So that's what they erected the tabernacle, the sons of Gershon and the sons of Merari, who preceded them, the Kahasim, by the departure of the two banners, their own and Reuven, erected the tabernacle as soon as the cloud settled. The singular camping had seen the camp of Judah. And when they camped, the sons of Kohath were still traveling behind it, with the last two banners of Ephraim and Dan. The sons of Gershon and Merari erected the tabernacle, so that when the sons of Kohath and Merari, they found they were set up already. And they brought the ark and the table and the menorah and the altar, and they brought it into already set up situation. This is the meaning of the verse. Those who erected the tabernacle erected ad until the arrival of Kohath. Verse 22, Ephraim, the banner of the camp of Ephraim set out. The Tzavaisim, the legions. Baal Tzavara on his legion was Elishama ben Amiyud. Baal Tzavara Mati ben Menashe, the head of the legion of the tribe of Menashe, was Gamliel ben Pedot. Baal Tzavara Mati ben Yamin, and the head of the legion of the tribe of Yamin was Avidam ben Gedain. Verse 25, and then was the last one, the last camp. The camp of the tribe of Dan set out. He was the collector. He was the collector. Well, Rashi, I think, will explain. He was the collector for all the camps. The Tzavaisa, to their legions. Baal Tzavai, on his head, was Achiezer ben Amishad. Rashi says, the Jerusalem Talmud states, because Dan, the tribe of Dan, was numerous. They traveled last. And if anyone had lost anything, they were the lost and found of the Jewish nation. So they would slowly travel in the back. Anything that was left over, they would pick over. And they were the lost and found. They would find it and return it to him. There's an opinion that they traveled in a box-like form. And he derives this from the words, and just as they camped, they travel. Another opinion that they traveled in the form of a beam. They didn't not a box. They actually spread themselves out to be that they should be able to cover the entire space of the Jewish nations traveling, so that anybody would drop anything, they would find it. Big mitzvah, Shavas Aveda, returning a lost object. And on the allegiance of the tribe of Asher was Pagiel ben Nachman. The heads of the legion of the tribe of Naphtali was Achira ben Enon. Verse 28. These are the travelings of the children of Israel according to their legions. Vayisau, and they traveled. She says, says, this is the order of they traveled. Vayisau b'yemahu, that on the day that they set out. Verse 29. So Moshe sold Chayve the Reuel Hamidyani, his father-in-law. Chayse Moshe, the father-in-law of Moshe. We are traveling to the place where God has promised us to give to us Eretz Yisrael. Go with us, come together. Will be good to you. Because God has spoken good to the Jewish people. Rashi says, Chayva zu Yisra. This is Yisra. As it's brought down in Shoftim on the children of Chayva, the father-in-law of Moshe. So why the scriptures mean to saying they, the daughters of Yisra, came to the father Reuel? Melamed comes to teach us that the children called their grandfather father. And he had many names. He had 7 names. Yisrael, because a portion was added. Chayvav, because he loved the Torah. And the Rashi says, explains all the 7 names in the book of Shemais. Neisim achnu anachnu. Immediately within 3 days we will be enter the land. You hear? This is before the next portion, Parashat Shlach. So here, after 1 year around the Har Sinai, Moshe Rabbeinu said we're going to be in Eretz Yisrael within 3-4 days. And that's it. But that's it. But because they sinned in the episode of the complainers, next week's portion, they were stuck in the desert for 40 years. So why did Moshe include himself with them if he wasn't going to enter the land? Because the decree against him entering the land had not been issued at the time he thought that he would enter. So therefore, we are going, even though he ultimately did not go. Verse 30, and Yisai told him, Lo yelech, I won't go. I'll go back to my land and my birthplace. So that's just whether it's for the sake of my possession or for the sake of my family, I'm not going. Verse 31, son, he told him, please do not leave us, because you are familiar with our encampments. Midbar in this desert, will be for us as a guide. So Rashi says the word na is an expression denoting request, begging. He made this request as he didn't want people to say just Yisrael did not convert out of commitment to Jerusalem. Rather, he thought that a proselyte had a portion in the land. Now that he realized that he has no portion, he had forsaken them and gone on his way. He didn't want people to talk Lashon Hara on his father-in-law, to say that he doesn't want to go with them because really he had no part of Eretz Yisrael because he was a convert. Eretz Yisrael was divided to the tribes. It would be fitting for you to do this, remaining with us, since you are familiar with the place in which we will camp in the desert, and you saw the miracles and wonders done to us. For you are familiar. So this is the next Rashi is a grammar. Let's go to the next Rashi. The verse has a past tense. The Targum rendered it means that the wonders brought upon us, you have seen with your eyes. Another explanation, it's the future tense. If anything should be hidden from our eyes, you shall enlighten us. Further interpretation, you shall be beloved to us as a pupil of our eyes. You shall love, as the Torah says, you shall love a convert. So you're a convert and we're going to love you. Verse 32, if you go with us, and the goodness that God will give us, which God will do good to us, will be good to you. So now she says, what good did actually bestow upon him? They said when Israel appointed the land, there was a fertile area in Jericho, measuring 500 by 500 cubits. And they refrained from allocating it. They said, the one whose portion the temple we built shall take it. Meanwhile, they gave it to the descendants of Jethro. So they ultimately gave, the Yidden gave to Yisrael's descendants, converts, gave them a part of Eretz Yisrael. To Jethro, the son of Rahab. So another Ben Rachab, as it says, the sons of Cani, Moshe's father-in-law, went up to the city of dates, named Jericho, and it was given, his nephews were given, brother-in-law and nephews were given the part of Eretz Yisrael. But Moshe Rabbeinu, Yisrael did not listen, and he went home. Mar Hashem, so they traveled from the mountain of God. They traveled for 3 days. And the Aron, which is the covenant of God, was going before them. Fronted them 3 days. Lasser mehem amnucha, to seek for them to settle. So Rashi says they completed the distance of 3 days in 1 day. Why was there? That's like a way of 3 days, but they traveled 1 day. And why did it take them why did it take them so fast? It took 3 days, it took 1 day, because God wanted to bring them into the land immediately. The ark that accompanied them in battle. There were 2 arks, right? Because the tablets were broken. There's a whole argument. What did they do with the tablets that were broken? So according to many, there was 2 arks. one ark with a broken tablet, and one ark with the complete tablets, the second tablets. So they used to travel in wars, they used to take the ark with the broken tablets. So the broken pieces of the first set to lay them, it preceded them 3 days of travel to prepare the place of encampment. This is a very interesting concept, that this ark, the Medrash, Rashi brings it to a simple interpretation of the verse, that there was a Medrash that said that this ark, the ark with the broken tablets, was in front of them 3 days, and it would empty out the land. How did 1 million people travel through a desert? They had to have, to clear out the land, mountains and valleys and rocks and everything that's in a desert. So this ark was a miraculous thing that you would go in front of them and clean out everything in front of them, so that they would have a very smooth journey. And this thing like flew in the air. Verse 34, and the cloud of God was above them when they traveled, and a machneh from the camp. So Rashi says 7 clouds are recorded in the accounts of their travel, 4 from 4 sides, 1 from above and 1 from below. And the one in front of them, which was flattened the high and the rise of hollow and destroyed the snakes and scorpions. So here, Rashi says that it was the cloud also that cleared out the place. So there was a cloud that surrounded them. That was, according to many, that was the sukkah that we talk about. The sukkah was the anan that surrounded them on all 4 sides, and even underneath them. And a machneh from the place of their encampment. And that completes the Chumash of today. We are holding now chapter 6 of the portal of faith and oneness, and we are in the middle of a very deep discussion. Let's learn this little introduction. Earlier in chapter 4, the Alter Rebbe explained that the supernal attribute of Chesed and Gevurah, the form of finding of expression, the diffusion, right? Chesed is diffusion of divine life force that creates and animates created beings. And the second, the latter, Gevurah, finding expression and obscuring of the life force from them, so that they can conceive of themselves as independently existing beings. That's Chesed and Gevurah. Both possess one source, right? That's what we explain, which is hard to us to comprehend, as Alter Rebbe says. He explained it that since these 2 attributes are essentially one, the tzimtzum of Gevurah does not truly conceal, for an entity cannot conceal from itself. So this all applies to Chesed and Gevurah in the state in which they are found within their source. One might, however, think that in their revealed state, whether in a sphira or in a mortal midah or attribute, they are indeed 2 separate and opposite entities, revelation and concealment respectively. Alter Rebbe therefore goes on to say in this chapter that even when the attributes are revealed, they are still in a state of histalkut, mutual incorporation. They both serve to bring about one result. Chesed and Gevurah both have the same purpose. And what's the purpose? A physical world with corporal creatures. That's the agenda. And that's why they're both mutually important. And that's why they're both, even though they're opposites, but since they have the same exact purpose, they come together in total union. The truth is, that's the concept of Ish v'Isha. Opposites, the masculine and feminine opposites, but only through the opposites you can have a true union and unity and a creation of a whole new entity. Because opposite, because why? Because they have the same purpose. So this is this concept. Thus, the ultimate purpose of Tzimtzum, brought about by Gevura, is also motivated by Chesed. For this concealment makes creation possible. So therefore, as I explained, as we tried to explain yesterday, that's why Gevura is really Chesed. It's a deeper concept of Chesed. Gevura and Chesed are thus joined in a state of mutual cooperation. We make this fusion possible. What makes this fusion possible is the fact that they are both united in the light of Ohr Yisrael. They are both come from the same source, and therefore both have the same purpose. Hence, even when they are revealed state and appear to be two separate entities, they are essentially one. And that's why, ultimately, as we explained, that in Gevura, in the concept of severity, there is Chesed. It is Chesed. Chesed is Chesed, and Gevura is Chesed. And as we explained, that actually Gevura is a deeper concept of Chesed. Why? Because they have the same purpose. As long as you have the same purpose, then both entities are the same. So Chassidus and Kabbalah, we know that the two names of God, Yud Kei Vav Kei. Yud Kei Vav Kei is the tetragram. I think that's the fancy English word. It's the name of God we don't say. We say Adonai, right? Yud Hey Vav Hey. We don't say that. It's only said in the Beis Hamikdash. The Kohen Gadol, he would say the name of God, but we don't have a Beis Hamikdash here, so we don't say the name of God. So therefore, that's the name of Havai, which is Chesed. That's the name, right? Wait, with the creating force, and then you have Elikim. Elikim, who midas hagevura v'atzimtzum. The second name of God is Gevura. It's in every blessing you say both names. Baruch atah Adonai is Yud Hey Vav Hey. Elokeinu. So your all blessings go with both names. Shema Yisrael, Hashem, Elokeinu. We have those both names. So both of those names go together. Chesed and Gevura. So each name of God denotes a particular divine attribute. The name, right? We know there's 7 names of God in the Torah. As there's 7 emotions, there's 7 attributes. So each name of God denotes Yud Kei Vav Kei is Chesed. The name pronounced Kale, for example, indicates the attribute of Chesed. As the verse said, the kindness Kale endures throughout the day. Likewise, the name indicates Gevura, and Tzimtzum is Elikim, meaning the light of Ein Sof, God itself, the attribute of Gevura, to bring about its own Tzimtzum concealment. It's known as the name Elikim. And that's why it's also the numerical equal to Hateva nature. Equals 86. So the name Elikim is 86. And Hateva, the word Hateva, the nature, is 86. Nature signifies the order and the way of the world because it's repetitiveness. People become accustomed to it. And it arouses no sense of wonder. No thought is given to the divine power and life force, which is concealed within these things, which have been established in order and are repeated constantly. Nature, that's its nature. That's the way it is. We take it for granted. We take that today is going to be here. Why? Because it was here yesterday. Tomorrow is going to be here because it was here today. And it was here yesterday, and it was here the day before. The sun will always rise because it rose yesterday, it rose the day before, rose a week before, rose a year before, rose 50 years ago. It's been rising every day. It's going to rise tomorrow. So that's nature. Nature is repetitiveness. That's the concept of taking something for granted. The fish and master Eshelamayla, for its divine name Elokim conceals the supernal light that brings the world into existence and gives it life. So that's Tzimtzum, Elokim. The supernal light constantly creates the world from nothing, Exonila. A feat more wondrous than the splitting of the sea, as we explained before. The divine name Elokim, however, conceals this light. So that it's not visible to created beings. That's it. Humans don't see this light. Humans see. Things are happening naturally. Why do I have to believe that God does it if it's happening normally? It happened yesterday. It's going to happen today. And appears as though the world exists without having been constantly renewed, as if permanently programmed, and is conducted according to the laws of nature, independently of any supernal influence. That's Gevura. And that's the second name of God, Elokim. So that means the Eibishter created this Gevura. The Eibishter created, God created this nature. Thus, even those things which are observed to undergo some degree of renewal are also perceived as the way of nature, in so much that they follow these seemingly immutable laws. That's the way it is. So we have even something we create new. Oh, because we have the capability to create new things, to bring out new things. It's nothing special. It's all in nature. It's in science, whatever you want to call it. So Chassidus explained the word teva, nature, has a number of meanings, including entrenched and submerged. This means that the laws of nature are so entrenched in creation that it's difficult to detect the ongoing process of its renewal. Additionally, just as a submerged object is completely concealed by the water, so too the divine Son is utterly submerged and concealed within the created being. But a Jew realizes that the name Elokim, not as it exists in the supernal source, but as it acts through the attribute of Gevura, so that the world appears to conduct its natural manner. Humagein v'naitek l'shem Havaya is a shield and a sheath to the name Havaya. The name Havaya. Remember, Havaya is Yud Hey Vav Hey. The name Havaya, as mentioned earlier, is the explanation of the verse. The sun and its shield is Havaya Elokim. The two names of God I mentioned before. Is like an illuminating sun, while the name Elokim conceals its light, as it does the sun's shield, thereby enabling created beings to benefit from it. So that's the exact, here you have in the two names of God, Chesed and Gevura. Both of them are the names of God, Kadosh Baruch Hu. Both of them are the names of God. So the name Elokim hides, conceals the light and the life force that flows from the name of Havaya and brings creation into existence from naught. So without the name Elokim, you wouldn't have the world either. Just like without the name Havaya, you wouldn't have the world. Because Havaya is chesed, the concept of giving, constantly creating. But without the name Elokim, you wouldn't have the world either. Because thus, with the name Havaya, without the concealment, the world would be naught. So we need both names. We need to have chesed and you need to have good. You need the name of God, Yud Kei Vav Kei, you need the name Elokim. Just like the sun needs its shield, because without the shield, the sun would burn up the world. So too, these two concepts. So therefore, both of the concepts are needed. So its existence for naught, this being the purpose of Havaya. The name itself means bringing into existence. We explained that before. Havaya means that it's making it happen now. This life and life force is concealed by Elokim. So that not be revealed to created things, which would thereby become absolutely nullified. So since it's only through concealment effects, by the name of Elokim, that created beings are able to exist. So then think about it. Then the quality of this Gevurah and this contraction, all kindness. So everything is kindness. The revelation is kindness. The concealment is kindness. Because both of them, the revelation and the concealment, is for creation. By which the world exists. So both are the concept of chesed. Because without both, we wouldn't have a world. This is an allusion to the verse states, for I declare that the world we built to the attribute of chesed. For so much of the world could not be possible been created without the tzimtzum and the concealment afforded by the divine name Elokim. It follows that the ultimate tension of tzimtzum is actually chesed. The ultimate purpose of Gevurah is chesed. It's not for Gevurah itself. The ultimate concept of Gevurah is chesed. And this is the quality of Gevurah, which is included in the chesed. Meaning, this is the form of Gevurah through which acts of chesed is accomplished. As such, it's included in chesed. So, Olam chesed yibon. The Eibishter is chesed, benevolence. That's the point, right? The Eibishter, God is benevolent, chesed. As the Talmud said, we say this many times, teva tev leitim. The nature of kindness is to do kind. It's all about kindness. It's all about kindness, because even the Gevurah is for kindness. Everything is based on kindness. Chesed is kindness, self-understood. And even the contraction, the Gevurah, which God does, is also the concept of kindness, because it's all the aspect of the same exact purpose. The purpose of the revelation, the purpose of the continuation of the world, the purpose of the Eibishter's love of the world, and the purpose of where God created everything in the world. So everything comes out of God's kindness. And that completes the Tanya of today. Today is the 17th day of the month, which is in your Tehillim, in your Psalms. If you would say chapter 83, 84, 85, 86, and 87. So 83 to 87, you would do the Tehillim of the day, and you would complete the Chitas of the day. I wish you all a wonderful day. And Mir Hashem, with the help of God, I will see you all today at 10 o'clock, either at Chabad, or on Zoom, or on Torah Direct. We're going to learn a beautiful Sikha of the Rebbe for the portion of the week. And I'll surely see you, Mitcham, tomorrow at 8 a.m. We'll continue the Chitas of the day. Have a good day.